We have people. Not too many. There's Carol. Hi, Carol. Let's see who else is going to show up today. Yeah, it's a cold one. Tina's here. Lovely. Yeah. We're all glad we're staying inside quilting today, aren't we? Oh, yeah. Oh, it's been quite a week so far. Yes. Um, it's good to get together with everybody again on a Tuesday. Looks like we're at least bright and sunny outside. It's nice to see the sun coming through the window, and it's great, natural light. When we when we have new fabric to show you. And when we're looking at fabric, that natural light is amazing. So Carol says she signed up for my hand embroidery class, so that's wonderful. Yeah, we've got quite a few people registered in that. Um, that one is coming up this Friday is the start on that one. And if you're interested in classes, we are gradually starting to kind of do some what we call blended classes. So we're still doing our classes via Zoom, and that means they're recorded. You can always refer back to them later if you can't make a particular session. But we are starting to invite a few people to sit with us here in the classroom. So that's always kind of nice. I talked to one lady in the embroidery class. She says, I don't care what I learn, I just want to be near people. So it's going to be a great class. If you're interested, there's still time to sign up. Lots of other classes coming up, and probably the best way to find out what's going on is to make sure you subscribe to our newsletter. It's very easy. Go onto our website, mysewingroom.ca, and there will be a tab there that lets you subscribe to our newsletter, and that's where we can advertise all of our upcoming classes for you. So I see Robin has joined us all the way from Maryland. Wow, you've had some pretty wintry weather out that way too, I think. So anyway, because it's so wintry, pretty much everywhere, I thought I would pull this gorgeous new line of fabric. I'm going to slide over so you can have a close look at it. The colors don't always come out great online, but it's called Modern Love. And this center fabric is a border print, and it's used as the center panel in this little pattern here. And then she's used obviously a lot of the coordinates. This is only a portion of the line, but I just thought, I saw it on the table this morning. I thought, oh, I gotta show you guys on Facebook because this is amazing and so spring-like. We want to think about spring, don't we? Ah, come here, chair. Okay, so what have I got for you today? Officially Technique Tuesday. Let's see what sort of fun we can have today. I was flipping through one of my Quilting Arts magazines, Quilting Arts, which we do carry here. And this one happens to be the issue from fall of 2021. It doesn't go out of fashion anyways. But in here, there is an article. I'm just going to hold it up because you don't have to stop and read it, called Story Fragments. And the whole idea behind the article is fastening vintage photos to the fronts of your quilts. Now, her work in here is very, it's kind of rough and artsy and hand stitched. These pieces are pretty small. I think they're 4.5 by 6.25. You know, and she's hand stitched these vintage photos onto them. But it set me thinking. I thought, we all know that we can put photos onto fabric. We have special fabric sheets that we can run through our printers, and then we have a photograph on fabric that we can then work into our quilt. But I have a laser jet printer. It's a little harder. And I thought, well, I mean, that's all very well if you're working with a standard photograph. But what if you wanted to capture a fancy card, a Valentine's card, or some of the really old photos are actually on heavy board even. Uh, or something with sparkles on it. Maybe your grandchild made you a lovely card with macaroni painted gold glued to the front. How are you going to stick that in a printer? Well, it's not going to work. So I came up with a way of backing those special pieces, let's call them special pieces of cardboard or paper, and using those in your quilts, in a quilted panel. Now, obviously, it's not going to be washable, but lots of things we do in the quilting world aren't necessarily washable. A lot of your machine embroidery, your tiling scenes, a lot of your Kimberbell, little wall hanging quilts with the plastic, with the glitter in it and all of that. Yeah, we don't always wash that type of project. So this is where you would use an idea like this. So I'm going to start with a Christmas card because it was handy. So this is the front of a Christmas card, and one of the reasons why I wouldn't be able to capture this effectively, printing it onto fabric, is all the glitter on the front of it. Can you see the glitter? Oh, it's sparkly. So here's what you do. Now I'm going to switch camera feeds. Switch you over here, and you can kind of see, maybe if I move my machine over a little bit, slide down, there we go. So what I have is my photograph or card or just a piece of board with something special on it that we want to save and use in our quilt. So we get a piece of fabric that we like as a coordinate, and it has to be a little bit wider on the sides and a fair bit wider here because we're not sure just how large an edge we're going to put on this. We're going to make it look like it had matting around a picture. So I'm going to start by setting that in the center. Yeah, close enough. I'm going to turn one edge up that way, right to there. So that's the edge of my card, right there. And then I'm going to bring it over. You can probably just see this. Lift that up and bring it over here to the sewing machine. Yeah, we can see that nicely. And we're going to sew, this is almost like a basting. We're going to sew about 1/8 of an inch from the edge right along there. I'm using an extra long stitch length. I think I've got it at about 3 millimeters. And we're stitching through the fabric and through the card. You can feel the edge of the card in there. So let's make sure I use the right foot pedal here. There we go. So just stitch slowly. There we go. Pop that out. So you'll notice I'm working with the fabric right side up. So now I am going to take that, open it out, and I'm going to decide how big a mat I want around my picture. And I think I'm going to use a fairly narrow one this time. So right about there, that feels like about 1/4 of an inch. I can press this if I want to. I have my iron hot, but I think I'll press it right at the end. So you won't be able to see this. There's the edge of my fabric. There's the edge of my card. I can feel that with my finger. So now I'm going to come back in here and run another row of stitching. It's going to be almost on top of the previous one, but this time from the front side. Right out to the end. There we go. Okay, so there is one side done, right there. I'm going to do exactly the same thing to the top. Make sure that is snugged up, fold it over, my threads out of the way. Now, if you pull that snug and just run your finger along it, gives it a bit of a crease, holds it nice and flat. It always seemed a shame to me that we get all these beautiful Christmas cards. Not quite as many these days as we used to get in the past. And we either throw them out or we put them in a box somewhere. Either way, they're not enjoyed. So some of the really special ones, you can always do a commemorative little wall panel and enjoy them for years. Okay, so top and bottom are done with our little frame here. And I'm just going to give it a quick press with the iron. Right over here. We're going to go way over here, out of camera range, but that's okay. I'm pretty sure you've seen people iron before. There we are. So now you can see, pressed down nicely. Now what I want to do is I want to trim this even with the edge of the card, because so much of this is done by feel. We want to be able to feel where that edge is. So we're going to trim this, both sides. Okay, so we've got lots of extra fabric here. That's not a big problem. We probably aren't going to use all of this fabric, but just in case, let's take our second piece of fabric. This one we don't have to have nearly as wide because we're not going to cover the back of the coat. So we've got 2 strips. There we go. 2 more strips of our fabric, and we are going to overlap that just a little bit, just like that. It's kind of sliding off that machine table. I'll work out here. So overlap it by 1/2 inch to 1 inch, just like that. Don't worry about all the excess. Hold it down. But this might be, we got some pins handy here. I didn't bring pins. They're usually floating around in the studio here, but well, we'll wing it. There we are. There we go. So exactly the same process, but we're going to carry on right out to the end of our fabric, like that. Put that to the sewing machine. Make sure we're tight to the edge of our card, because that's the most important part. It's wiggling on you. You can always just adjust it from underneath. Make sure it's laying nice and snug. Snug it up. Go. And then exactly the same process here. We're going to fold ourselves a mat size. Fold. And this is where it might be handy to press it before we stitch it. And again, you can feel right here where the edge of that is. So line that up. And says, Happy 02/22 2022. Ooh, that's almost as bad as Pi Day. There we go. Anna's here and Lorraine's here. So now we've got our other piece. And if you find it's wiggling around and you don't bring pins, like I didn't bring pins, why don't we, because we don't, turn in that edge first and press. So let's see. There we go. Just line that up, fold that over. Wait a minute, did I do that right? I didn't. No, I didn't do that right. Oh, we gotta do that right. Yeah. Right sides up, always. But we have a good line to follow now. So I can fold that. There we are. There we go. I like to work with default needle down because you never know when something's gonna need adjusting. There we go. Okay, that's not quite tight. Tuck that nice and snug. There we are, all the way right round about there. Good. Okay, and then turn off. Whoops. There we are. Turn our last little pleat here, just like that. Pull that in. Feel for the edge. There we go. Okay, so now it looks framed, but kind of shaggy around the edges here. So now we'll take it over to our mat and we'll decide how wide an excess piece of fabric do I want when I start and build a quilt. Well, I am going to look at this one. I kind of like that distance. Let's go with 1.25 inches from the seam line. Boy, the lights really reflect back here. So hopefully your lighting is better. So I am just going to trim that to 1.25 inches. I'm going to find here my original seam line, square it up. I don't think I put my photo in there completely square. There. So obviously, if you want a larger frame on your work, you're going to start with a bigger piece of fabric, but this gives you your card well supported on the back. You don't have to worry about it moving around. Well stitched down with a nice little frame around it. If you wanted, you could carry on and add stitching through here and here to hold those edges down. You could even pop a decorative stitch all the way. Let's do that. Ooh, we need some coordinating thread. Maybe not. We have time. I just don't have my card here. I don't know what the decorative stitches are on the machine. But you could throw a decorative stitch all the way around there to really set this off. You could stitch rickrack around there or any other sort of decorative embellishment you want. But now your card is supported. Now you can work that into a pieced quilt and hang it on the wall, whether it's a card, a photo, anything like that. So I just thought that was the neatest technique, and I can see me using it coming up fairly soon. I don't know what for, but I'm sure I'll work into it. My husband's standing in the background. Hi, dear. He's my chauffeur today because, yeah, the car wouldn't start this morning. That was fun. Yeah, happens to us all once in a while, but yeah, fortunately, we have guardian angels to rescue us. So yeah, I get a chauffeur ride home today. Isn't that nice? So that's what I have for you today. Don't forget, if you're interested in classes, you can just check out our newsletter, and we would love to see you in person or virtually for some of these fun things. Don't forget, our February challenge is still running. Make a project any size. You must use at least 3 fabrics that are pink or have pink in them. Hint, hint, hint. What's back there over my shoulder. And send us a photo or tag us on social media, and we would love to share your work with other people. I think it's wonderful. So that's it for today. Quick and easy, and I would like to see some of your photos worked into your quilts. I think it's kind of fun. I just might have to carry on with this one. So Sandy's probably up tomorrow for Wacky Wednesday, and then we'll see what's going on for the rest of the week. I might have to commandeer Leah if she's not too busy, and she can tell you about some of the fun things she's been doing. Until then, have a great Tuesday, everybody. Stay warm, and we will see you